Hey guys, and welcome back to Cabin and Cockpit for the return flight from Minsk to Frankfurt. As you know, one of the pilots in the flight deck is flying and the other one is monitoring. Today we would like to show you what tasks the pilot monitoring has. During the turnaround on the ground, the pilot monitoring is responsible for the outside check of the aircraft. If you want to learn more about that, take a look at the video about a detailed outside check on our channel. Moreover, the flight management system has to be checked if the route was correctly entered by the pilot flying. During taxi, the duty is to assist the pilot flying with finding the correct way, keep the contact to air traffic control, verify if the aircraft is set up right for departure, and receiving the cabin-ready call from the flight attendants. As we line up the runway, the pilot monitoring checks the brakes temperature, turns the strobe lights on, activates the TCAS system and arms the auto throttle. After the thrust has been set for takeoff, the pilot monitoring verifies if it is correct and gives some callouts to the pilot flying. Those callouts are a check speed, V1, and the rotate command. After liftoff, the pilot monitoring will get some orders from the pilot flying, as for example gear up, or some changes in the control modes for the flight director, and executes those tasks. During cruise flight, entering the flight times in the operational flight plan, checking the fuel, talking with air traffic control, and monitoring the pilot flying are the main duties. Take a look now on our routing for the cruise flight to Frankfurt. For the approach preparation, the pilot monitoring is responsible for receiving the current weather of Frankfurt in that case, tune and check the navigational aids for the approach, and look over the setup of the aircraft. Moreover, the pilot monitoring determines the approach speeds and the landing distance according to the actual weight. During this approach we have a wonderful view. You can already see the airfield of Frankfurt ahead on our left hand side a bit, and our landing runway straight ahead. On the right hand side the river Main and the skyscrapers of the city of Frankfurt. If you look very closely to the lower left part of the window, you can see Airbus A330 flying for runway 25 left, which we are about to overtake. During the final approach, the pilot flying gives commands to the pilot monitoring for the flap setting and of course the gear down command. In this phase of the flight, if the weather would be worse than today, the eyes of the pilot monitoring are more outside to find the runway. And the closer we get towards the runway, the more is the transition for the pilot monitoring from the outside to the inside on the instrument, and of course for the pilot flying the other way around. Last but not least, the cabin clear report for the landing from the flight attendants will be received by the pilot monitoring, and the final checklist will be read. As soon as the aircraft ahead of us has vacated the runway, air traffic control issues our landing clearance and the pilot monitoring is reading the landing clearance back. Take a look now on this nice view of Frankfurt Airport, where you basically can see almost everything, starting from the parked aircraft towards some technical areas and the terminals. After leaving the runway, the pilot monitoring is responsible for bringing the aircraft back to, let's say, normal configuration. One example for this is retracting the flaps. Luckily, during the taxi in, I was able to catch the landing of a United aircraft, so take a look on the runway and enjoy the landing. Taxiing at Frankfurt Airport is always something which is pretty cool. As you can see on the departure gates, a lot of different airlines and aircraft standing. Do you know all of the aircrafts and airlines that are standing there? By the way, Frankfurt is the 4th busiest airport in Europe after London Heathrow, Paris-Charles de Gaulle and Amsterdam Schiphol. In 2017, more than 64 million passengers were using Frankfurt Airport. Frankfurt Airport has approximately 1,365 flights per day, which are conducted by 106 different airlines serving 275 destinations. The biggest airline in Frankfurt is Lufthansa, and their Star Alliance partners, they make approximately 75% of all flights. Now, as we are turning towards our stand, I would like to thank you for joining us on this flight on Flight on the YouTube channel of Cabin and Cockpit, and we will be happy if you will leave us a comment. Stay, of course, tuned. The next cockpit video is already in the making.